Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today we are going to be checking out these 4 kits, which include Lord Castellan Ursula Creed, the new heavy weapon squad, not that the old one can't be used, but the new one's bases are smaller. Be one of the big difference between the two of them. I'm going to show that in the video so you can see. The Lord Solar Leontus, if that's how you pronounce him, and of course the new Rogal Dorn battle tank, which is a gorgeous tank by all accounts. Now, the 4 items that we'll be showing off today are not the only things coming out this weekend. The Codex, this is all in Canadian, the Codex is coming out at last, and the data cards, the Astra Militarum dice set, the Cadian Command Squad, which you can get in Cadia stands, the Cadian Shock Troops, which you can get 2 of in Cadia stands, which is still available currently. The Heavy Weapon Squad, which I'm showing you today, the Field Ordnance Battery, which you can get in Cadia stands. I will be showing the difference between the Heavy Weapon Squad and the Field Ordnance Battery in this video, as well as how the old Heavy Weapon Squad is actually in between the two when it comes to size. Rogal Dorn. The Leman Russ Battle Tank is now going to be in one kit, so you can create the various types of Leman Russes. And I know it can create the Leman Russ Battle Tank or the Tank Commander, which has two different data sheets. And is the Leman Russ Demolisher still a thing? Because when I read the Leman Russ Battle Tank, it didn't say anything about the Leman Russ Demolisher, so I'm just quickly checking that out. This is the Codex that comes with the Cadia stands, which is super pretty looking. It has the Lord Solar in the front, Thorax, Valkyrie, Chimera, Deathstrike, Wyvern, Manticore. Oh, and I'm going to show off what the difference in size is between a Hydra and the Rogal Dorn. 2-day Leman Russ battle tanks. Yeah. Let's see, the Demolisher battle cannon is right in there, so it just counts as a Leman Russ battle tank for the purposes of data sheet going forward. So any variants of the Leman Russ battle tank, including the Tank Commander, which is a different data sheet, are available in that. The Armored Sentinel, which is again in Cadia stands. You can save about 40% of when you get Cadia stands, you save about 40% of getting everything individually. And even if you did not care about the Codex and the data sheets, you still save about 20% rather than getting everything individually. Lord Solar Leontus, which we're putting up today. A new Primera Psyker. I do not have that, but she looks pretty cute. And well, I think the Bane Blades, the Bane Blades are just getting a new box. And all variants of that guy are going to be in the one box, as far as I'm aware. Quite sure. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, there's the Bane Blades. All of these different tanks are actually just one box. Probably called the Bane Blade or the Shadow Sword. One of them. And okay. And as far as I know, Cadia stands is still available for limited time only. $2.40 in Canadian. Okay, that's that. Now, let's show off the models that we assembled today. The first one we're going to look at today is Lord Castellan Ursula Creed. She has 2 different heads, an open-faced military helmeted one, and this helmetless one. Honestly, I couldn't take the helmeted one that seriously. Her expression is just so, I don't know, dead-eyed and dreary. I'm going to try to put some life back into this face when I paint her, that is for sure. Also, she can either be holding this scepter or she can alternatively wield a pair of magnoculars. There is a little helmet that is supposed to be at her feet, but it's such a nice little helmet. A nice full one. But I thought, let's just put something else there so I can use the helmet later. I can sort of understand that there might be a certain heaviness to the scene if her own man's helmet is on the ground before her, but in my world, she isn't standing dead-faced over her soldier's body, and is instead standing dead-faced over a recently defeated enemy. Next, we have Arcadian Leontus, Lord Commander Solar with his mostly cybernetic stallion Constantine. The only extra piece you get from Leontus is an alternative face, and that face is shouting. I altered the position of his head as well so that he was looking forward in the direction that he's actually charging rather than to the side, and I've not glued him down yet, nor his horse down, so you can see that you can keep rider and horse separate from the base while you're painting, disregarding the hand that's attached to the reins, of course. And one last detail about him, he is actually standing atop what looks to be a Chaos Reaver Titan head, so that is a pretty cool factor. Okay, now the new Heavy Weapon Squad. I do have here the old Heavy Weapon Squad so you can see the difference between the two. Note that the new one has a smaller base and slightly smaller weapons. Also, here is a comparison of the old Heavy Weapon Squad, which is in the center, and the new one to the right, and then the Field Ordnance Battery that is coming out as well to the left. I already went over how to build a Field Ordnance Battery back when I did the Cadia Stands video. For this new Heavy Weapon Squad, there are 5 different weapon options for each of the gunner groups. We have the Heavy Bolter, the Autocannon, the Las Cannon, the Mortar, and the Missile Launcher. If you aren't familiar with the names of these guns, then thankfully you will find the name of each gun on page 43 of your codex. It is not quite possible to have all of these gunner groups exchange out all weapon options with ease, but nearly. As long as you don't glue the gun to the gunner, or the gun to the stand of the tripod, or the 2 legs of the tripod to the stand. If you follow that, the one kit can definitely create 3 different heavy bolters, 3 different autocannons, and 3 las cannons, or some combination as you see fit. And your choice of either 3 mortars or 3 missile launchers. You cannot build the mortars and the missile launchers, since the mortar and the missile launcher are constructed by the same half-cylinder piece, so you have to choose between them. But the missile launcher, unlike the others, requires a very specific build. To build its gunner, you need the torso of any one of the others, but he has to have his own separate arms. The heavy bolter, autocannon, and las cannon all use the same gunner arms, which you'll want to glue onto the shoulders at the same time, so you can orient the arms to have these pieces right here at the same elevation, which is perpendicular to the ground, with a space in between to fit the gun into place. Don't fill in the space. There needs to be a space for the gun. So you could magnetize the arms at the shoulders, but it really is only the missile launcher that needs the different arms, and you have extra bodies in the form of these crewmen that you could add the missile launcher arms to. Just remember, the half cylinder creating the missile launcher is the same one that creates the mortar, so there's no way to sensibly build 3 missile launchers and 3 mortars from the same kit. The other 3 weapons held by a gunner just need this type of arm, which there are 3 sets of in this kit, so you can build 3. Okay, there are 7 heads for 6 people. 2 are sergeant's heads, 1 girl, 1 guy, even though there are no rules about sergeants in the data sheet, so that would just be for looks, but of course it is fitting in the lore that a squad would be headed by a ranked officer. I went ahead and actually used the sergeant female's head on my Rogal Dorn, since there is no sergeant head in the Rogal Dorn's tank heads. There's more than enough tank heads, but there's no sergeant head, and I thought she would look good as a tank commander. Assembly difficulties with the heavy weapon squad? Well, there's a lot you have to consider. And you'll want tweezers, as there are multiple tiny pieces to work with that you'll want to put into place just so. Everything fits just so. And you may be dropping pieces as well. I know I did. And I've assembled so many models. As for the Rogal Dorn tank, this was actually a treat to put together. I like putting together tanks. Yes, there are tiny little pieces that you will have to attach to the tank. So you'll want your tweezers again. But the track, so easy to put together. Each piece of track fits in one particular spot. And the smaller pieces you just want to press into place. As long as you follow the guide, each place has a very clearly defined place to go, you will do just fine. There are a variety of weapon options for this tank, so let's go through them. The first one is the big gun. You can either have a twin battle cannon or switch that one out for the oppressor cannon and coaxial autocannon. To switch out between the two will require magnetization, but that would definitely be a simple 3 magnet build, one for each of the guns and one for where the guns are going, using larger magnets due to the weight of the gun options. This is the piece you need to magnetize the guns too, so do that before you assemble the turret. Though even if you decide only after you've built the tank that you want to magnetize it, the turret will always be able to be removed from the chassis. It might be a little bit more difficult, but you can definitely scoot a magnet inside that area. But don't do that. If you want to magnetize it, just take this piece and do the magnetization before you assemble it. The next gun option is between the Castigator Gatling cannon and the Pulverizer cannon. Now these cannons can just be pushed right into place. No magnetization or gluing required. So that's great. They just push right into place. Perfect. The next gun option can either be between some headlights. If you don't want either of the gun options, I definitely do. So I'm happy to just change between guns because you would absolutely have to magnetize the headlights into place as well as the guns into place. But in this way, if you just choose between the guns and forget about the headlights, you don't have to worry about magnetization at all because, again, they just push into place and stay there. These shorter ones are the melta-guns, and these longer ones, these long thin ones, just like the one on top, are the heavy stubbers. In the datasheet, you will always have at least one heavy stubber, so whether you build a model coming out of this port, or like I have, standing on a platform behind, which the platform can be or cannot be out like that, you'll want to make sure that the gun is, that this particular heavy stubber is somewhere on the tank, if only to remind yourself that it's there and you should shoot with it. For those new to playing the game, you will be shooting with every weapon that you see, so don't forget to roll for 3 different heavy stubbers if you have all 3 on the tank, or 2 different melta-guns if you have both of them on the tank. The last option for weapons are the side guns. The tank is complete. If you leave them off, it doesn't feel like there's a hole missing. It is a full tank if you leave off these side guns. But if you do want to have either the 2 heavy bolters or the 2 meltas on the sides, there is space in the back of these pieces that the guns connect to hide magnets. So with a little drilling into the actual gun itself, you could magnetize the options, if you don't just decide to glue them into place. And lastly, the tank can either have armor tracks or not. Armor tracks give you a bonus to your saving throw against damage 1 weapons, and though anything with a damage profile of 1 would generally not be wasting their ammo on a Rogal Dorn tank, I would say that armies with a massive amount of hits, or horde armies, would go for the Dorn just because they go for everything, so statistically they could get through. It's only 5 points. You can just choose between, because literally you can take it off and put it on again. They just press into place. Now there are these side pieces too. I don't consider them to be part of the armor on the track because it looks like they're meant to be on. I think it's something that you don't necessarily want to glue before you actually paint the tracks, because you will have trouble getting to the wheels if you keep them on. But they actually press right into place. I haven't glued them in place. They just press right into place. Mine do. But these armored tracks, to my thinking, is the top placement armors. The portholes can either be closed or open. The same pieces are used for the open portals or the closed portals, so you have to decide. And there are more than enough pieces to make multiple different looking crewmen if you want. The back gunner can be replaced with a simple light, or one of these two. They can go in any of the 3 holes. You should make certain to ask me any questions if you had any on any of these. I have assembled them all. I've assembled everything new for Astra Militarum, so by all means, ask some questions if you have them. And lastly, before I say goodbye, I want to show you what the Rogal Dorn looks like in comparison to the tan tank, which is a Lehman Russ, and a Hydra, to give you some reference or comparison between various sizes of tank. For funsies. Comment below if you had any questions. Like the video if you liked the video, and I will catch you in the next one. And subscribe to the channel. You don't have to watch every video, but if you subscribe to the channel, when a video comes up that you do want to watch, you'll actually see it. That would be good. And subscribing to the channel helps me, so you should do that. Okay. I will catch you in the next one then. That's all I've got to say. Except for thank you very much, patrons, for your continued support. I am now going to be working on patron-specific requests, so you can expect that in the coming days. Lots of painting. Look. Armored Sentinel. Scout Sentinel. Scout Sentinel. Armored Sentinel. Not to be underestimated how nice that is. Okay, bye.